Hey, good morning. We have a nice, intimate crowd. I like that. I'm Brendan Sweeney. I'm one of the founders and the CEO of Pop Menu. We're right over here at stand G80, and we are an all-in-one guest-facing digital platform for restaurants. Very unique concept, different than anything you've ever seen in your life, and I encourage you to check it out. But we spend a lot of time with restaurants, especially independents, on a variety of topics that cover technology and marketing. One of our favorite things to cover is unlocking new revenue opportunities, and so that's what this talk is about. Hopefully you'll find some value in it. Here's what we'll cover. We recently did a survey of a number of consumers and clients, so operators and owners of restaurants. Things have been changing so much that we're trying to keep on top of trends every single month. And so this one was actually from October, so we have some data from there and here that should be interesting, hopefully. We'll also talk about how restaurants are connecting with guests around the clock, which is essential to unlocking revenue opportunities. And we'll share some real life examples. So restaurants that employed some of the techniques we talked about, what kind of improvement, what kind of benefit did they see? Okay, so there's obviously a massive labor shortage happening in the hospitality space. This is in many parts of the world, including obviously in the UK, the US. And what we're seeing is restaurants are saying, hey, I'm losing revenue opportunity because of this labor shortage. Some of them are saying it's a little under £4,000 a month. Some are saying closer to £8,000 a month. And basically everyone is saying, if I can't get the people in, I still have to get that revenue that I missed during these last 18 to 24 months due to COVID. What can I do? And the answer is to automate a lot and to rely on technology to help fill some gaps. It doesn't replace people in hospitality. They're obviously the most important component of hospitality, but technology can help fill gaps, especially right now with a labor shortage so strong. And the truth is, you didn't get into running restaurants because you love technology. And what we're finding is operators and owners having to take on many, many different jobs during this time, during this crazy time, and including managing the website, handling inbound online orders, figuring out how to make sure the phone's answered, waitlisting and queuing, and marketing in general. And so these are all things that most restaurant owners didn't sign up to do. But if they are done, it does mean a lot of revenue opportunity captured for restaurants. So when you're getting pulled in a million different directions, it is technology that can really help simplify things. So the first challenge we'll talk about is answering every phone call. And this is a worldwide restaurant challenge that consumers will always call, and it's always difficult to answer all those calls. So 40% plus of consumers say if they call to make a booking and they don't get a human, they're going to go on to the next restaurant, even if they get a voicemail. 20% of restaurant operators say they miss at least 25 calls per week. I think that's extremely low. I think I've talked to people who think they miss a third of all of their calls. And then about a quarter of restaurant owners say they lose about over 700 pounds a week. Let's call it 1,000 a week, 50,000 a year, due to lost calls, which is incredible that in 2021 we'll still lose revenue opportunities to people calling. So what can be done about it? The surprising answer is AI is actually here to help you with phone answering. And this is something Pop Menu is introducing, but there are players here who are doing it too. I just encourage every restaurant owner and operator to take a look at it, even if you might have been leery of it. Do people want to hear a robot voice, etc.? We have some data on that. The truth is, the inbound phone call is an opportunity, and it's not just an opportunity for a voice. So for instance, one thing we do is when people call and our AI answering service asks them, how can I help? And they say, I'd like to make an order. The system texts them a link to the online ordering and says, this is the most efficient way to place an order, and here's an offer if you use it, and away we go. And so that eliminates the need for multiple people to get involved, and it captures the opportunity. One great thing too is the AI systems can answer 24/7. So it doesn't matter if you have someone there. It can answer questions. Ours in particular can answer about 200 questions on the restaurant, whether it has to do with cuisine type, location, hours tomorrow, hours on a holiday, do you have bookings, things like that. And so you'd think they want a human, and that is the typical hospitality experience we want, but people want the information more than they want a human. And if they can get the information, they're happy. Also, AI systems can be much more efficient in capturing, transcribing, and sharing voicemails, so they're not just sitting on a machine somewhere or in some antiquated system. But do people want to talk to robots? Our survey found that 3/4 of consumers are happy with restaurants using technology to answer their phone, especially if it means they're getting their questions answered. And some 20% of people, I guess, don't love people that much, and they prefer talking to a bot. And so the truth is we've all gotten more comfortable with technology, interacting with it as consumers. It's fine. And so any hesitation of putting some sort of technology on your phone, you can take comfort in the fact that people are actually really comfortable with it. So many answers out there for that particular challenge. Another challenge is just on-prem service. And so especially with the labor shortage, this gets harder and harder. So technology can't answer all of it. We need some people back, but there are definitely some things that can help with. The on-prem experience does get hindered by the labor shortage, whether that means limited service hours, limited areas of the restaurant being open, or if it means very slow service. One of the things that we have found is a lot of restaurants say they don't use a queuing app or a waitlisting app, or they don't do waitlisting or queuing, and the truth is they all do. It's usually just a piece of paper or some antiquated version of that. And there are real limits to how that helps organize on-prem processes, but it's also a real marketing opportunity that I'll show you in a second that can be very helpful in keeping guests engaged. And then you've seen probably 20 or 30 people here doing contactless ordering options. I won't spend too much time on that, just a little kind of our thinking on it, which hopefully will be helpful. So waitlisting and queuing, like I said, many restaurant owners tell us, oh, I don't do that. And then we see a piece of paper on their host stand where they've been taking names and numbers, shouting out at people in the reception, handling it that way. Automating this, number one, removes the need for someone to take the names and to stay in touch with them. And so systems like ours will keep the conversation going through text to let them know your table's almost ready, your table's ready, things like that. And so that's where efficiency in the face of a labor crisis helps. But the other thing is, when they become part of the wait list, they can become part of your CRM. And so you get their mobile number, you get their name. They can become a follower and become part of your CRM and become easily re-engaged. And what we've found is we have clients who include all kinds of links in their waitlisting message. So they can say, check out our latest specials, here's an offer, here's our full menu, here's a link. And so while people are waiting, they're getting excited, they're getting prepared for the meal, they're getting smarter on what's available, which can also help turn tables faster without compromising the hospitality experience. The fact that they end up in your system versus on a piece of paper that gets thrown away at the end of the night becomes a massive feeder for your CRM, which I'm advocating for restaurants to own your guest list, own your customer data, own the right to contact the people who love your restaurant. That shouldn't be on some third-party platform only. That should be a direct communication between you and your guests. And getting on the wait list, if you have 150 covers a day and half of them end up on your wait list, adding 75 people a day to your CRM will have massive impacts on your revenue opportunities. The other thing with waitlisting is now our system knows, okay, so-and-so came in, they had a meal, and they became part of our follower list or CRM. Our system will automatically message them and ask for a review. And so constantly getting these reviews and bringing them through the system offers opportunity for personalizing marketing, and it also, in our system, you capture reviews and can show them on your site along with in your menu. And so this makes your menu feel alive, and it shows people, oh, there are people eating there and they're having great experiences without having to go out to a third-party platform. Contactless ordering, so, like I said, there's 20, 30 vendors here. My thought on this is what we've seen operators do is it's not a matter of all or nothing. It's a matter of where can you use it to overcome a staff shortage. So that could be, well, now I can open this patio without having to staff up for it, or maybe it's a certain day part. Maybe it allows you to have Tuesday lunch service, things like that. So I think if you're considering contactless order and pay, use it as a tool where needed to kind of overcome the labor shortage, and that's really the best use of that technology, unless you want to be pure serverless, et cetera, which I don't think many people do. But I think that idea of it's not all or nothing is really what to embrace here. Okay, and then attracting and engaging guests around the clock. While we have a labor shortage, and that makes it difficult to provide hospitality for as many people as we want, we also just went through 18 to 24 months of really tough revenue times. I think in the UK, the hospitality revenue was down 50% last year, year over year, which is no surprise, but that means everybody has room to catch back up and get back on track. And so attracting and engaging doesn't slow down just because it's difficult to service everyone. And so one of the things that we focus on is how can you efficiently replicate marketing heads or marketing spend? And the biggest thing is built into your own website. It's a really underutilized platform. And that's because for years people said, oh, you don't need a website anymore. Maybe just have a profile page on TripAdvisor or on Facebook. Just use Instagram, this and that. The website is still the center of your digital presence online, and you should own that. That should not be something that consumers can only learn about you from TripAdvisor or some other third-party platform. You should control your narrative. You should control how you're presented. And it has many, many benefits when you actually take care of that website as the center of your digital presence. So SEO, search engine optimization, appearing high in Google is one of the number one things you can do to attract new guests. If you aren't having a great digital presence, when someone searches for your restaurant brand name, they're going to get a third-party link above you. And so with Popmenu, we spend so much time on search engine optimization that none of our clients, when you search for their name, so do a branded search, none of our clients do not have the top spot. It's critical to own the top spot. If someone searches for your restaurant and they get a TripAdvisor link or a Deliveroo link or what have you, that is opportunity going to someone else that could have been coming to you with better economics. So we spend a lot of time setting up the infrastructure of how we build websites to make sure you appear at the top. And there are other things you can do to stay at the top, which I'll get into. Second is having a dynamic menu. Our name is Popmenu. We believe heavily in the menu. We think the menu is the most underutilized asset in hospitality. It's your sales tool, it's your CV, it's how you show the creativity of your offering, the quality of your ingredients, how you plate, the quality of your plating. All of those things are how you win in a competition between you and 2 or 3 other restaurants for a particular meal. It's huge, and I'll show a little bit about that. And then just keeping your website up to date. This sounds simple. This is a 25-year-old, technology and problem. But the more you keep it up to date, the more signals go back to search engines and to consumers saying, keep in touch with this, keep indexing this, there's fresh content here, this business is alive, and it's really important that way. And this is your 24/7 marketing tool. So when we look at a text menu, this is how 90% plus of restaurants are presenting their offering, their inventory, their differentiation. It comes through as text, and it's at best uncompelling. At worst, it is a crippler of your ability to rank highly in search engines. And so when we think of one piece of text, like a PDF menu, that is something Google really can't understand too much about and say, so for instance, if it's a gastropub and there's a one-page PDF menu that's all text, at best Google can say, this looks like a gastropub. We think it's a gastropub. With a technology like Popmenu, we actually index every single dish in the menu so that Google sees each one as an individual web page, even though the consumers don't. This has the effect of making sure Google knows. It's like, I'm positive that's a gastropub because these 50 dishes are clearly called out. And so one thing is the text piece, a PDF piece, making that really readable to Google is really important. Second part is photos. And this has evolved over time, where it used to be that photos on menus were seen as diner or cheap or chain dining. And the truth is that's evolved. And now it's really critical to winning guests who are considering where to go. So whether this is browsing for an on-prem eating experience or whether this is online ordering, photos make a huge difference. A third of consumers say they'll move on from a restaurant website, from a restaurant menu if there aren't photos. You've lost them if there aren't photos. And that's not to say that every single dish needs a photo. That's not to say it needs to look like a diner menu. It's something that you can be strategic about and put in photos of your most profitable dishes, the ones that you know people order a lot of other things with, things like that. Also, mobile experience is critical. And so for us, it's like 3/4 of traffic that comes to Popmenu is on a mobile device. I know it's obvious, but still we don't make mobile first in most cases. Popmenu does and has from the start because we recognize how important it is. This kind of a menu, especially a PDF format, is just impossible to read on a phone. And so when you go through to a PDF menu, the consumer can be lost very, very easily trying to pinch and zoom and scroll all over. So a lot of things are problematic with especially a PDF menu, but a text menu overall. Contrast that with a dynamic menu. And so when we started this company, it was all about, well, we think the only reason that people go to a third-party platform like TripAdvisor to find their next dining destination is they're used to having so much more criteria to make a dining decision. I'm used to photos when I go to Amazon. I'm used to reviews. I'm used to social validation. I'm used to all of these things helping me understand, is this a good purchase or not? You get none of them on a restaurant website. You get none of them in a static menu. And so we started this business saying, just put all of that into the restaurant menu under their control, and less people will bounce out and go to somewhere like a TripAdvisor where they can be lost to many competitive opportunities. And so dynamic menus, what we see is people spend 7 times as much time perusing a dynamic menu as they do a PDF. It makes sense, right? The PDF is just a little bit of text and you're done. Here you have photos, you have ratings, you have reviews, you have so much for people to consume and try to understand what's this place all about, should I eat there? That they do spend more time, and they spend more time getting excited, they spend more time getting to know your quality of ingredients, your creativity of offering, things like that. And so it's visually engaging, it's mobile first, it's built for search engine optimization, and it's very, very easy to update, unlike a PDF menu. So many, many benefits of a dynamic menu, and for us, it's the core of our company, and we've seen everything else we've built into our platform, integrated marketing tools, ordering, things like that. They're all better because they come from a dynamic menu standpoint to start with. And even if you don't use a service like Popmenu that makes this very easy, it's still not really difficult to set your menu up this way for easy updating, ongoing purpose. A key of what we're doing, and I mentioned it, is making an individual HTML either page or snippet for every single dish. This is a big signal to search engines. And so I mentioned that's really important. Another thing we do is we integrate with Google My Business. We found that restaurants tend to not understand just how powerful Google My Business is. And if you don't know what that is, it's this little card profile page that appears when you do a map search or a near me search on Google. And we often get asked, well, how do I rank at the top of that? The number one thing you can do is take control of the profile. So you, as the business owner, own that profile, but often if you haven't taken control of it, other people are jamming links and bad information, stuff like that in there. This is your number one window to win new guests. We have about over 6,000 restaurants on our platform. We had 17 million consumer sessions or visits across those restaurants last month. 90% came from Google or from direct. It's not coming from other platforms. It's not coming from social for the most part. So taking care of the Google My Business profile is a massive deal. We integrate and we make it so that information gets automatically updated all of the time. And that sends a signal to Google to say, again, this business is active. They're keeping their information up to date. And so we rank them higher in a map search. Just getting ranked higher in a map search can be all the difference between an okay year revenue-wise or crushing it. And then the continuous updates, like I said, they keep signaling to the search engine, come back for new data more and more often. So just some real life examples of how this has helped, and these are US based, but we've seen it in other countries as well that we operate in. Google operates the same way everywhere. So this is Hampton Social, and this is not a huge hospitality group. This is 6, 7 locations, something like that. And so just from turning on Popmenu and implementing some of the kind of attributes that I just shared, so the search engine optimization, the individual dishes being indexed, etc., their average monthly website sessions or visits went from 175,000 to 285,000. That is a major increase, and I'm not saying that extra 110,000 people will all come to Hampton Social and eat. Of course not, but some percentage of them will. And so the more, obviously, you have at the top of the funnel, the more you can convert. Bless you. Keywords in number 1 position. Like, how often do you go beyond the first link or the first page? Not very often in Google. Their keywords in the first position more than doubled by structuring their menu and their website this way through Popmenu. Keywords in the top 10 results also doubled. And these are the things that lead to this increase in traffic. Time spent doubled on the site. As I mentioned, it's really important that people are perusing, spending more time, giving you consideration. The longer they spend on your site, the more likely they are to actually come in on-prem or make an online order with you. And if we take the value of all this traffic and pretend it wasn't free, let's say it was paid search on Google, they actually added over £120,000 in value, traffic value for free by just using these methods I'm talking about. It works. And because there are so many restaurants that don't do it, you get an advantage by doing it immediately. This is on a 3-month compared to a 3-month period. Sometimes we see dramatically bigger numbers than that even. It all depends on how popular you are already, how many inbound links there are to your site, things like that. This is another one that shows the impact on online ordering that all of what I'm talking about can have. And so Terra Terroir is also a US-based restaurant, and he had not done any online ordering, had not done anything in digital. When the COVID lockdowns came, he wanted to keep running his restaurant, and so he said, I need to do anything I can. Well, in the first 2 months, he did £44,000 in commission-free online ordering directly through his site, which would have been, through a third-party platform, paying 20-30% commissions on that. Got 30,000 views on the site, 5,000 views of individual dishes, which is something we track, which is a really interesting piece of data you can use, and added 2,800 followers to his CRM. You do that every 2 months, adding 2,800, 1,000 plus followers, all of a sudden you have a database of 10,000, 15,000 people who are ready to be marketed again by you. You have permission to contact, you have preference data. That CRM is just invaluable in keeping your business going. And again, this was a person brand new at all of this, and he didn't have any special technical knowledge, anything like that. Just turned it on, followed the system, and it worked. Challenge 4, being in front of diners when they're hungry. And so about a third of restaurant operators say their biggest challenge is marketing on a smaller budget, which is obviously how you get in front of people when they're hungry. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of resource, and the lack of availability of headcount also makes this difficult. The thing we want you to remember is marketing doesn't have to be complex, it doesn't have to be costly. It could be very simple and it could be automated, and all of that has major impact on your revenue streams. And one of the biggest things is remarketing. And so I keep talking about building your CRM, your follower base, capturing names, capturing permission to contact, building up that number. Well, you know that they already like you. If they're willing to say, I want to follow you, and I want to know updates, I want to know limited time offers, I want offers in general. And once you have that database, you can do things like automate, text, or email offers, or social offers to that base. And that is a very simple thing that you can do to put an opportunity for revenue in front of thousands of people. You can give them a first look, make them feel like VIPs, give them a first look at specials, limited time offers, things like that. Advertise dishes straight from your menu. This is one of the things we love about Popmenu. Is it's hard, you can't see it here, but on every single dish within your menu, our platform allows you to share that out. It could be by mobile, it could be social, it could be by email. And what we find is that as people are figuring out where do they want to eat, they are sharing with friends, hey, what do you think? This dish looks good, this dish looks good. And so they become a marketing arm and an attraction arm for you as well, just having that simple behavior, amplifying your marketing spend. Sharing promo codes and offers is a great way to drive online ordering revenue. And then I know of a lot of restaurants who heavily use OpenTable and will segment out their users based on their behavior and email them, and I love that. That's also something possible through our platform. And so you can make a special offer to people who love the burger, or people who are vegan, or what is it? What we see is the more personalized the offer is, the higher the open rate for any offer, and the higher the click-through rate. And so even taking a little time to segment and just breaking it into, let's say, 4 or 5 messages has a big impact on people responding to offers. This is an example of one of our clients who does a great diversified content mix. And so I see people all the time who have been sold that marketing has to be complex and it has to be based on this, complex, what's my tone and what's my voice and what's my spirit and my vibe and all this stuff. And okay, if you can do that, that's great. If you can afford to work with an agency that helps you do that, great. You just need to send food pictures in front of people often. It's really simple to market a restaurant in that way. And so that's what we see with the Nest, is it starts with often sharing dishes, cocktails, special events, showing their humanity and their brand and their community by having pup events and things like that, and making sure people know about it. Events like trivia nights, things like that. Like, they just regularly are having a diverse kind of group of content that they can share with people to keep them engaged and keep them in front of their brand. And then they keep, again, the human connection going by sharing their staff, sharing different things going on with the team, sharing different accomplishments, things like that. These are not super complex messages to get out. And in a system like ours, it goes out omnichannel. It goes out on the site, it goes out on Google My Business, it goes out on social, it goes out on email. So no matter where they are, they get touched. It makes everything extremely simple. And so what results did they get? 8,500 in online ordering commission-free, 4% increase in Instagram followers, twice as many monthly website sessions year over year, almost 20% growth in their CRM, over 1,000 visitors to the website each month from Google ad campaigns, and over 5,000 website visitors a month. And so that engine just keeps building. They just keep making those messages, building the CRM, and it's kind of like a flywheel that just makes it easier and easier to keep the guests coming in that you need to make your numbers. And that's it. And if anyone has questions, and if I can hear them, I'll answer them. Otherwise, we're at stand G80 right over here, and happy to talk more. Thank you.